Ladies and gentlemen, it is a humbling experience to stand before you knowing that you have travelled from all parts of this land to be here to celebrate what is good with the world. Thank you for joining us this evening. Your support of this organisation is what makes us great. It's what makes America great. It's what gives me hope. These are troubled times in America. Violence in our streets, the tearing down of our history, the defamation of our country, Americans hating America, socialism on the up, and ignorance on the rise. But while our hearts hurt and our minds are tempted to question, we must look relentlessly forward. For the belief that tomorrow will be better than yesterday is part of who we are. It's part of being American. Many suggest only our past will reveal greatness and glory. We have heard these voices before. Each time they have been wrong. I refuse to believe that America is a meteor that blazed across the heavens and is now exhausted. Instead, I remain staunchly convinced that we are merely in a transient time of trial, in hours cold and dark before the ramparts' new gleaming. As we have had to many times in the past, we must recalibrate our trajectory, renew our hearts, revitalize our culture, refresh our history, and reaffirm our faith, the things that count. When our enemies threatened us in the moon race, we responded by changing our national curriculum to have greater focus on mathematics and science. When we were attacked in Pearl Harbor, we responded by leading the world to crush tyranny. When evil men cowardly plunged airplanes into our buildings in the hope of destroying our resolve, we responded with patriotism. The time to respond has come again. Our vision must be a return to America, a return to the America that our parents and our grandparents remember. This organisation is perfectly placed to assist in achieving this goal. The work we do in providing resources like the Students' Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and educating our young, our teachers, our parents, our grandparents, places us uniquely to reboot American exceptionalism based on these beautiful documents, the things that count. Let us begin by reaffirming our core premise. We are one people under God. Ours is the experiment of humanity. Our nation is exceptional. Our role, indispensable. Nothing is wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. Our flaws are many, but our land shines bright. We remain the inspiration for the world. We continue to plant the seed of liberty in our fertile soil. Let us nurture it and continue to let it grow to bear fruit for the entire world to enjoy. We make no apology for America. Our country is a force for good in the world. For those beyond our borders who would magnify our deficiencies and ignore our virtues to author a false narrative, we are resourceful and generous enough to deal with them. The voices among us that would abandon perspective, disavow our fundamental goodness, and deny our worthiness to lead the world are a far greater enemy and must never have our support. Where American achievement has been at the hands of responsible, self-governing adult citizens, American decline is at the feet of the mindset of the spoiled child. It is the mindset that confuses imperfection with malice, resents what belongs to others, condemns as abuse any refusal to be indulged, all the while demanding that all consequences be avoided and that unearned benefits continue to be enjoyed. As we move forward this 21st century, casting our eye around the world, let us be clear about our vision for America. Erased borders, stifled enterprise, fading liberty, censored faith, and a dwindling birth rate may be the hallmarks of other nations, but they will never be American goals. We are a nation of lifters, not leaners, and we will continue to lean on our tradition of lifting. Hard work, discipline, and freedom are the values of economic success. Nowhere else can so many come with nothing and achieve everything. Let us occupy the dreams of people everywhere and remain the haven for talented people from elsewhere. The country that teaches and proves to all that no task is impossible, no challenge insurmountable. In America, there is neither virtue nor reason in stifling human achievement. Let us apply this motivation as we strive, arms outstretched, for a more perfect union. As we do, we must turn and once more face God, resisting those that might rail against our religious character. Our rights come not from our government, but from our God, equal, natural, and inherent. No one may arbitrarily remove them. Government's hand has rested more lightly on our lives because of our preparedness to self-regulate by the sense of moral obligation before an eternal judge. A belief in limited government is who we are as a people. For we understand freedom and incentives unleash the drive and entrepreneurial genius at the core of human progress. If we are to meet our potential, the government must stop doing things our founding fathers never intended and a better job at those things it was established to do. To conquer our challenges, we require an American engine comprised of different parts with varying roles, but all burning fuel for America. There are some in our politics invested in separatism who preference cultural diversity to patriotic unity. But it is not our diversity that makes us exceptional. It is our ability to unify the diverse. America can lead only when we are in it together. We must be more than the mere sum of our parts. In recent times, we have spent too much time protecting the culture of those that join our country and far too little defending the culture they have chosen to join. Those that would seek to test our tolerance, interpreting it as weakness and unlimited patience, make a grave misjudgment. The only birth certificate we care about is our Declaration of Independence. But know that we are a Christian nation that speaks English and whose law must be obeyed. Those that seek to change rather than strengthen our values and way of life should consider another home. It is moral to keep our nation safe, our homeland secure, and our allies protected. Our commitment to this is unfailing and unconditional. Tyranny and evil will be met with full force. In the future, there may be nations whose armies will outnumber us, but none will have our resolve or our fearlessness. Our soldiers are the type that will re-enlist after losing a limb, or throw themselves on unknowns to absorb the blast of a detonated suicide vest, just so their teammates can complete their mission. Where our enemies may drink from the poisoned well of bitterness, we are sustained by the clear liquid of freedom in the calm pools of liberty. We will break the back of envy and rebuild optimism. We will determine who comes into this country and the circumstances under which they come. If you come to America illegally, you will never get to stay. You have broken the law. You are not welcome. We do not want you. You will never be American. We will send you home, period. You will have risked everything for nothing. But in the spirit of American positivity, let us recognize that the efforts of millions to come here is not only a policy problem, but an accolade. It is a tribute to our material abundance, opportunity, innovation, and cultural creativity. These are the steps of the magic escalator that propel groups from marginal status to full participation. In cafes and barbershops, in the hallways of schools, and in the pews of churches, in the bleachers of Little League games and Pee Wee football games, and on the sidewalks around town squares across America, people who have taken advantage of the escalator can be found. They include minorities, women, and immigrants. Edmund Burke suggested a society is a contract between the past, the present, and the unborn. For all, we owe our best efforts to keep liberty, justice, and democracy, the flames of the American fireplace, alight. For our children and those yet born, we must ensure they understand what makes our country exceptional and that they are capable of continuing to manufacture and export our value system. Civility, industry, and self-restraint are what we must teach them, for they will be faced with the same choice we are: be responsible and free, or irresponsible and enslaved. Our curriculum must portray our nation's history fairly, and our culture must prepare our youth for the realities of life and competition. Self-esteem in America is earned, not granted. Only one winner can accept a trophy, and only one student should walk up to deliver the valedictory on the school stage. In America, we recognize competition nurtures strong individual performance. For our continued triumph on the world stage to be possible, it demands our native culture accommodate fierce internal competition. This spirit of competition extends to our national economy. Some would weaken our economy and enlarge our government by embracing climate evangelism that insists our environment is the greatest threat to our national security. But not us, for we are clear-eyed about climate change. We understand it is a threat based on false fears and false guilt. No more will it blind our perspective and priorities or make us deaf to reason and science. Economic action on climate change is an act of self-harm. Repressing human activity through the state has never been the American way. We remain faithful to our Constitution. For the America we once more seek, we must once again claim its promise. Rather than transform our constitutional agenda, we must protect it. As we promise to renew our nation, we must pledge anew to restore the family as the fundamental unit of American life. Family transcends politics, and its strength and integrity determines the health of freedom, the rule of law, economic prosperity, and opportunity in our union. History has shown that the traditional family is the ideal setting for our children. It is why we encourage old values in new times. And our destiny as Americans cannot be fulfilled until we give voice to those who could not, cannot, and will not be able to vote or speak unless they are allowed to live. That is why we protect the unborn. As we continue our journey, we remember those who traveled before us and those who will travel after. 3,000 miles of continental landmass may represent our wingspan, but our reach is infinite. For being an American is not captured by the front cover of a passport. At its best, it means flying on the wings of the American eagle and pursuing an American journey of happiness, opportunity, and risk. We pray for an America inspired and dedicated to the cause of liberty, not only for ourselves, but for all. A liberty founded on virtue, sealed and perpetuated through wisdom and prudence that altogether embody our national character. For those that have declared war on us within America, for those that are determined to destroy us from within, we say, you started this war, but we will finish it. We didn't invite this war, but we will attend it. Freedom will be defended. You will be outmatched and outfought. For you have many slaves, but few warriors. And it will not be long before your slaves fear our spears more than your whips. The will, the desire, the passion will be with us. We will summon every ounce of patriotism. We will gather every resource at our disposal. We will collect every drop of patriotism, and we will protect our country. For we carry the warrior spirit within us, indomitable, commanding, and resilient. We will stop at nothing to make sure this country never becomes the land of the enslaved and the home of the cowardly. We will stop at nothing to honour the legacy of the gallant men and women of our armed services, both past and present, home and abroad. We will channel those who have spilt blood, lost limbs, and paid the ultimate price to defend and protect the greatest human virtue of them all, freedom. We can win this fight. We must win this fight. We will win this fight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.